This episode is brought to you by SPI Logistics, the premier freight agent logistics firm in North America. For over 40 years, SPI has been diligently building the most successful freight agent network to provide first-class relationships for our shippers, receivers, and carrier partners. We are more than another transportation network. We are a dedicated team of professionals united by one singular purpose, and that is to expedite our agents' success. All of our agents are set up for success on day one, as they are provided with a full suite of support staff that is ready to assist them with everything from after-hours emergencies to financial and administrative needs on a no-fee basis. This way, you can focus on continuing to grow your business. There is no financial risk to start, and you have the ability to earn up to 75% in commissions. If you are looking to take control of your financial future and build your business with the backing of one of the most successful logistics firms in North America, visit www.spi3pl.com to learn more. Do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. Hey guys, before we jump into the episode, I wanted to let you know it is brought to you by Revenova, the official TMS provider for the Freight Coach. You guys, I've been a broker for a long time, and the tools that are at your disposal with Revenova help you eliminate bouncing between systems, which improves your accuracy when you are managing multiple tasks throughout your workday. Plus, it's built into the Salesforce cloud, so your CRM is fully integrated with your TMS, eliminating yet another silo. In today's day and age, you are definitely concerned about the safety of your data. With Revenova, it's fully protected. They have cutting-edge security that keeps your information safe so you can focus on what matters most, and that's growing your business. Speaking of growing your business, with Rate and Lane IQ, you get real-time pricing and route recommendations, helping you optimize costs and improve operational efficiencies, which ultimately helps you make smarter decisions. If you are like me and have recurring shipments from non-EDI customers, they have intuitive cloning features that let you easily replicate previous shipments, saving both shipper and carrier rates with just a few taps. If you are ready to learn more, visit www.revenova.com to request a demo. Just do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do, or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Tuesday, everybody. I got a very special guest for you guys. I'm going to bring him up in a second. And, we're going to be talking about remote work, virtual assistants, all of this stuff, building out the back end of your business. I think it's an inevitable thing that a lot of founders go through. I know I went through it. It's like you can only do so much in a day, and you don't know, like, what is that next step? How do you build a team? What do you do? And this is what I'm most excited about. What's out there is you don't just have to rely on the people that are, in your local area to find teammates to build up your business anymore. It's a literal worldwide economy that's out there, and a worldwide talent pool. And we're going to be talking about that today. And I have Mr. Edward Lockridge on the show. Edward, thank you so much for taking the time to join me this morning.
No, thank you. Thank you so much, Chris. Before I even say anything, I just want to say your intro, and I'm sure you hear it all the time, your intro is elite, not just in freight podcasts, but in podcasts in general. I was in the background just, okay.
Man, it took us like 3 years to find that song. And then in true, figuring it out fashion, I violated some licensing rights in the process. And fortunately, the company that I licensed it through was pretty cool. I'm like, hey, I made a mistake. Like, I thought I clicked the right thing. And they're like, no, you're all good. But yeah, man, when I heard that song for the first time, I'm like, yeah, that's the one. Like, that is the one. And that's where we're going with.
Right. No, that was amazing. And thank you so much for having me on. I'm always pleased to speak about what we do. I think it's really easy, especially when you love it.
Yeah.
So I'll let you lead the way, brother.
No, man. So let's talk about my freight staff a little bit. Like, but before we get into that, like, what brought you into the industry as a whole? How'd you get your start in transportation?
Oh man, it was completely accidental. I feel like every time I tell my story, like, other aspects of it kind of leak out. And I used to work Um, while at the end of my career in college, like when I was working on my master's, um, I worked for the U.S. Census Bureau,
Okay.
and it was really cool because I was like, hey, I could just go leave my house, go knock on the doors, talk to the people, get the information that I needed, and go home. And I remember, like, looking in the sky and praying one day, like, man, I wish I could just find something I can do like this. And the first company that picked me up when I'm throwing out applications everywhere was a freight company, and
Okay.
that got me my start in freight. And it was exactly the same thing. I was going out warehouse to warehouse here in Southern California, knocking on doors, getting the information that I needed. And that was my bread and butter. And here we are. I mean, that was kind of my start in the freight world.
So I always like to ask founders this, like, what was that moment, Edward, where you're like, man, I gotta do something different, but I gotta do it for me. I want to go out there. Have you always wanted to be an entrepreneur? Was that one thing that you saw yourself doing when you were younger? Or was it kind of like a culmination of events where you're like, I want to do this better and I want to do it for myself?
It's quite the opposite. I never saw it for myself. Coming up, I grew up in San Bernardino, California, and if you know San Bernardino, California, it is not known for its glamour. It is not known for producing the best of the best. Um, but there are a number of individuals who make certain decisions, and it takes them far. And in my specific uh, circumstance, what really occurred was in my uh, throughout my work career. I saw some things that I really loved, but I saw a lot of things that I didn't like. Um, I, I I I feel like there were certain situations where, um, and I don't like to. I'm not a big person to throw other individuals under the bus, but let's
Mhm.
just say that there were things done by people that I respected, and they were running businesses, and I realized, I have every ounce of what they have. There's nothing that they possess that I don't currently possess. Not only now, but at that time that I didn't possess. And I'm like, I can do this too. I don't need to be subject to kind of the will of someone else. If I'm going to fail, I'm going to fail on my own terms. But if I'm going to succeed, I can also succeed on my own terms. And I just made the decision to do that. So I've been working for myself since 2013, and look back since.
Dude, I love that. It's so true. Like I didn't have any like specific moment in a sense of where I was like, "Oh, I can't believe these guys are doing it this way. I want to go do it my way." But I always knew I wanted to do it for myself. And like I was never a bad employee, but like I always thought I could do it better. Or it was that desire that I'm like, I want to do this better and I want to do it on my own. I wanted to plant my own flag. And what you said there, Edward, is very true. It's like if I'm going to fail, it's going to be on my own terms. But I
Yeah.
also, if I'm going to succeed, it's going to be on my own terms as well. That line resonates with me a lot, man, because it's like, it's not like I've ever been in a situation where I'm like feeling unethical about what things were going on. I just knew I wanted more. And I
Right.
knew that I would look back one day and regret not trying. And I think a lot of it comes in because like I'm from the Midwest originally. I live out in Phoenix now. And when I was like, I knew I wanted to move away. And my older brother had moved away and he was living out in Nevada at the time. And he told me, he's like, Chris, he's like, listen, at the end of the day, he's like, come out here. He's like, give it 2 years. He's like, you can always move home. But he's like, you can never get this time back if you don't do it. And I
Right.
remember like the first couple of times I went home talking to like some buddies, dads of mine, and they're like, man, I'm so proud of you for at least trying. They're like, I had this opportunity that I never took. And he's like, now at this point in my life, I regret that. I should have moved out. I should have tried something different. And I think like that's like the beauty of going out there and doing it for yourself. If you have that desire, right? Or if you come to that conclusion, I look at it is it's like now it's like, man, I could find a job if I needed it, right? Like if
Right.
everything
Right.
stopped. But like I also look at it now is I have such a unique opportunity to go out there and there's so many more resources that are at people's disposal. Like I was saying in the intro, you don't just need to hire people within a 20-mile radius of your
Right.
business anymore, right? Like it is a literal global economy and there's talent that is out there from across the globe that you never had access to 10 years ago, right? And then
Right.
and I'm sure you have a lot to say about this potentially, but it's like the stigma that came with virtual workers for a little bit there, and then now it's just such a widely accepted thing where people are like, no, we got teams all over the world. It's no longer like, look, like it's such a great opportunity for businesses to take advantage of now that they might not get in the local economy that they're operating in.
You know, you're what's really popping up in my mind is a one-liner that I kind of live by, and it's like comfort zones feel amazing, but nothing grows there, right?
Mhm.
And so, what you're saying, and I'll mirror, what you said, it resonates with me, and just moving out from, where you were into another location. Um, I did the same thing, but I did it mentally. I had to change my frame of mind completely from where it was. Frame of minds that, my family lived by, and what I saw, and I had to transition into um, another frame of mind that inevitably took me much further than I would have otherwise gone. So yeah, I'm right on board there with you.
So let's talk about this a little bit. What does it look like for a company that's out there who, maybe they have multiple roles that they might be looking for? Have you, when you're working with your clients, Edward, is there a kind of like a first step that a lot of, like, you've identified where it's like, hey guys, let's attack this first before we start going down all these other angles? Because I feel like a lot of people, when they go out on their own, they start to realize like, hey, I'm maxed out with my time. I need to hire 75 people. It's like, do you need to, or like, what? So have you kind of identified a system that you kind of bring people through?
Yeah, the reality is that the individuals who know what they're doing, like they've gone through it, whether they know freight or whatever their industry is, they know what they're doing, and they know the A through Z of that industry, of that process, of that specific role. Um, A and B, they have done that successfully. So it's not just in their mind, it's something that they have done successfully. And then they add on people. It works really well. And I also tell people that the best place to start is always on the operational side. So you'd be surprised how many people we get who have not even built the business yet. They don't have clients yet. They don't have a system yet. They don't have a process yet. And they're like, hey, we want to hire 5 people for sales. And I have to be that guy's like, to what are we selling? To sell what?
Yeah.
Right? Like the concept of freight, that everyone's doing that. What is special about what it is that you're doing? And if there's nothing yet, let's work together to make it special. Let's build out your operation. Let's build out your process, and let's get you successful, because in the end of the day, people can more readily follow a leader that they can see has done what it is that they're asking to be done, as opposed to someone who is, on the same boat with you. Like, hey, I'm hoping we can get there, and that is critical to the success. It's just having that kind of servant leadership where that what you're asking others to do is plausible, and you can show proof of concept to that plausibility.
I I mean, I talk about this often, and it's like, I uh I don't think people realize how long it takes to actually develop a system for people to follow inside of a company. And that was I think that's like one of the biggest hurdles that a lot of people don't think about, because like most individuals, specifically freight, they go and work for like a large company, or they're working for another company where they're operating inside of a system and they don't even realize it, right? Like this is just how they've been doing it for so long. And then they go out on their own and they're like, well, I need people to do this. Okay, but how? How do you want it done? Somebody else always took care of that. Okay, well, then that's where we need to start. And
Exactly.
I look at it from a business development perspective. People hate when I say this, but it's the truth. I don't know too many real hunters, real killers in this industry at all. I know a lot of individuals who were handed a book of business that have managed accounts that are now out on their own. And I'm not saying that they did bad work with it, but I don't know if enough people actually realize what it takes, the brute force it takes to get customers, and then filter through them to find the right ones you can grow and scale with. Like, there is a actual system to follow. And I don't know if enough people realize the amount of work that goes into building a book of business, because a lot of individuals were handed a book of business. They were handed accounts, and it's a tough pill to swallow. I get it, but you need to understand, like, where are you at? Are you a true hunter, or are you an account manager? And if you're an account manager, that's great. It's a different skill set that's required to manage an account than it is to earn an account from that very first cold call through that entire sales process. Because, like, right now in particular, this is some of the longest sales cycles I've ever seen in freight, man. Like, we're looking 2 to 3 years after the first point of contact. And if it takes you a year to get somebody to actually answer the phone, that's when that clock starts.
It's an unfortunate reality, but you're right on the money. And imagine 10 years ago. Side note, we just passed our 10-year anniversary, February 3rd, and 10 years ago, not only were we tasked with selling from the cradle, but we were selling something that wasn't a thing really. 10 years ago, there weren't, even 5 players in the space. There weren't 3 players in the space. It might have been my freight staff and another outfit. And so we're selling something that people don't understand. It's like, what?
Yeah.
You're like, from where? So is it digital? Is it? And so you're really spot on when you have to, if you're a true hunter, you have to get creative in how you, keeping the analogy going, how you kind of corner that prey, right? Not to say our clients are players. Hey, clients, we love you, but you understand we are a for-profit industry, or excuse me, company, and our goal is to find those that we can help, so that we can both win. So that it's in this case, a 3-way win, where we win, our clients win, and the VAs win. But the reality is that in many cases, we've got to find innovative strategies to let the clients know what they need. We might see, hey, what the problem is from first call, but a lot of organizations, especially like you said, they're used to doing things a specific way. It's really tough for them to really accept introspectively, like, hey, we do have this problem, and we can scale significantly more if we just change process A, B, and C.
Yeah.
So I'm right with you there.
I think it, kind of leads into, like, it's almost like founders burnout in a sense of, like, they're trying to, they're trying to just patch so many different leaks in their operations. And they're not actually looking at it from a step-by-step, like, what is the greatest risk to your organization? And, like, for me personally, and this is the absolute power of networking. I'm very fortunate to have met a lot of founders in this industry specifically. And when I went out and we started our brokerage, and, we're in year 4, excuse me. And, I had asked them all, I'm like, hey, what were some of your biggest pain points early on? And, I had one of my really, really good friend of mine. He sat me down. He's like, Chris, he's like, don't even think about you not selling until you're at least at 100 million. He's like, until you're there, he's like, you got to lead the charge, man. He's like, no one is going to buy in. And he's like, trust me, I've spent millions in salaries to learn this. He's like, I'm trying to help you here. He's like, you got to do it. You got to develop the system. You got to develop the process. You got to have people willing to do that. And I think that there's a lot of, and I know I went through this too, man, is you go out on your own and you're like, why am I not a millionaire yet? I've been doing this for 30 days, like,
Right.
I think everybody goes through that. But I also think, like, if you take the time to actually develop and go through the process, then you can go to a company like yours and be like, hey, man, this is the system we have in place, that we've stress tested it. We've onboarded some clients through it. Now I need to increase my firepower, right? Like, because it's a game of touches. The more outreach you get in a day, the better the likelihood of a conversion that's going to happen. But if you're not going to be willing to lead from the front, and that's how I am, man. I want my team to always know that I am not afraid to jump in and cover trucks, to go out there and make cold calls and to do that stuff, because I'm the one who developed the system. I know this shit works because I've done it, and then it's like, and then you can go out there and expand it where it's like, hey, Edward, I need 5 cold callers. I need people out there developing prospects for me. This is the system that I have. Go. And it's like, I think, like, that's one of those things that, again, people want the finish line. They don't want the work that it takes to get to the finish line, though.
Yeah, no, you're hitting the nail on the head. You're right on the money. The reality is, if as founders we can't uh, really lead that charge, and we can't really light a fire under our team where they want to rally behind you, because they're like, listen, if Chris can do it, or if Edward can do it, we absolutely can do it. Uh, and to be honest, you bring the most out of your team that way.
Mhm.
The reality is, if there's a process and I say, hey, it can be done twice as fast like this, and and that representative doesn't believe it's done, and then I go and do it, like, and I let them watch step by step that it be done, then now their mindset shifts. And sometimes, if, whether you tell yourself you can or you can't, you're always right. And so we want to create a dynamic where we're telling the people on our team, we're showing them that they can, because once they believe that they can, the result inevitably becomes better.
Mhm.
um, a quick, 1 minute, I had a situation. um, we brought on, this was like, a year and a half ago, we brought on a couple new sales guys. And um, you know, we have our marketing process, and then sending them a couple warm leads. And when that happens, we have a pretty high close rate when it comes to that stuff. And then, but the rate kind of dropped off, and I'm like, well, why is this happening? And they gave me their reason. So I said, okay, I'm going to start taking a few cold leads, and I'm going to create a case study from beginning to the end. And I did that, and I made sure that every single step was documented. And this is after the company as well. We're at this point nine years old. Um, and I did that, closed these deals, provided them everything. And since then, the the close rate of the team has significantly increased. And so it's basically mirroring that concept. Like, if they believe that the person that is telling them, hey, do this in this way, can also do it, and you go out there and lead by example and prove that, then it's just going to build up the morale of the entire team, and they're going to have better results for sure.
Yeah. And I just also look at it as, is like, how do you know that what you're doing is right unless you've done it? Like that's kind of like my big thing with a lot of stuff, right? Maybe maybe I'm a control freak at the end of the day, but it's like, how, if I'm going to hire somebody to do a role, I better know that role inside and out myself, because otherwise, how do I know that what I'm investing in is going to work out? So
Right.
it's like, because it's like, I look at it, man, where it's a 24/7 game, right? Like, business is not a 9 to 5 at all anymore, right? Like, it might have
No.
been like 20 years ago, but like with email, social media, like, you are accessible 24/7. And yes, you have to sleep. I'm not saying you got to grind 24/7 or whatever the life coaches say on social media. You need a
Right.
system in place to operate like that. And this is where it's like, I also see a viability of remote staff, right? Where it's like, man, you can get people on the clock 24/7 now, and you can have that type of coverage that maybe you couldn't have gotten, just a couple of years ago.
Yeah. I mean, our tagline is world class teams are made of worldwide talent. And it's because when you're looking for the best, if you're, if unless you live in Iraq, you know that certain areas are known to be the best at certain things. And so if you as an organization want to be the best, a lot of times it's good to, like, okay, they have the best developers over there, let me grab a couple of those developers, and the customer service over there is elite. um, but when it comes to building 24-hour operations, you're right, it's critical, and it's almost an expectation of the client, right? So in the freight world, if you have shippers where if they can't reach someone after hours, they're going to go to the broker or the carrier that they do have representatives they can reach after hours. If they can't reach someone early, they're going to go to the person that they can reach early. If they don't have tracking updates first thing in the morning, they're going to go where they can get those tracking updates early in the morning. We live in a very now culture. People
Mhm.
want things now, they don't want it later. People want instant gratification. And the unfortunate reality is that if you want to thrive in this market, you kind of have to give them what they want, how they want it, while maintaining integrity as an organization. Obviously, you have to have boundaries, but you, within a reasonable extent, you have to give the client what they want and how they want it. And it's tough if you do things the traditional way. if you're only going to um, hire. I'm in Southern California. If I only hired in Southern California, and then we're building this whole thing within Southern California, it would be near impossible. I would have to
Mhm.
get people to work overnight, right, here in Southern California, which the market is very slim for that, and the price points are very high. I would have to get people to work on weekends, nights, etc., and it just wouldn't be viable. And so for me, hiring or outsourcing to other countries, in our case, namely the Philippines, is a game changer. It is a
Mhm.
game changer, and it allows us to service our client better. So
Mhm.
even though we have an entire in-office team, we have a 20-person team here in Southern California. Each of those teams have the offshore components of that team with them, so that we can service our clients in the morning, we can service our clients after hours, we can service our VAs before, in the mornings, and we can service our VAs after hours. And it's one of the things that keep us successful.
Mhm. Everything you said there, it's so true. And I also look at it from the perspective of like so many businesses, how many of them stall because they can't afford well, let's talk about Southern California, right? The price point and everything that comes along with
Yes,
it, man. Like it's expensive, right? And
yes,
you might not have the money to, because it's not as easy as just go raise funds or go take out a loan. It's like it's dollar in, dollar out, especially if you're bootstrapping this stuff. And it's like you have to look at it from that perspective. Like this route might be the path that you are going to take that is going to be a staple for your business for the long term, but it gets you over that operational hump, right? Because again, there's only so much you can do in a day. And for you to be able to go out there and outsource a role, and again, it's like depending on the part of you might not be able to afford to hire somebody here locally or wherever your local market is, but you can utilize VAs because you
yeah,
can go in and get that operational support that your business needs. And I'm a fan of this stuff, man. I really am because like I'm in the trenches, right? Like I bootstrapped everything. I have built my businesses up from $0, zero customers. And I know the work that it takes to get there. And I also understand that when we've hit those levers of being able to hire people, like pulling on them to be able to free up my time so I can focus on what I'm best at. And that's building customers. That's starting like I am a hunter through and through, man. I love the hunt. But after that business gets on, I got to let somebody farm that stuff out because, like, I just, full transparency, I get bored, right?
right,
I'm like, all right, cool. I've been doing this for 20 years, like,
right.
I want to go out. I love the thrill of the build, is where my strong suit is. And it's like, now you can go out there and build a team around you. Um, and you can go in and focus on what you're doing, and it
Yep.
helps you build up your financial war chest that you need to compete in the world.
I have this conversation. I mean, we talk to a lot of clients and potential clients, and I have this conversation frequently. It's like, okay, if if you can delegate all of that, and I'm going to charge you, $1,200 to $1,500 and you can delegate everything that you just mentioned. How long would it take you out on the field selling to replace that? And more likely than not, they're like, oh, a month, 2 months. I'm gonna go out there and get the shippers required to, you know, re- to recover that outflow of money. And that's only one way to look at it. That those are people who are up and coming, right? It's like, okay, I need to delegate so that I can go out there and get more. But then you have the whole other spectrum of client of customer, whether it's be brokers or carriers that are well established, but the way that they become well established is they have a lot of people doing a lot of things, and burnout is real. It's a real thing. And so a lot of times clients come to us because they're looking to fill in some of those operational gaps, like the in between jobs. It's not this person's role, it's not that person's role, but there's something in between that needs to be done. Or in many cases, hey, let's give, our top five operational people the opportunity to take a break, to take
Yeah.
weekends off, to not have to stay up, and cycle and round robin who's going to work the overnight shift. Um, because those are the types of things that help you maintain people. And finally, when you when you outsource certain roles that you would have otherwise had to hire, um, locally for, it actually creates a dynamic where you can afford to pay your domestic representatives more, right? So that's kind of how I do it. It's like I want to make sure that my domestic team always feels supported. They never feel burned out. They never feel like things are going to die and break if they take a vacation. These are all critical to success of any business.
Yeah. And and here's a harsh reality to all the diehard freight tech only, automation only camp. Some of your guys' price points, most small businesses can't afford. And on top of that, you won't even cater to the smaller businesses because they only want the large things. So it's like, because dude, that's one of the things I hear often. They're like, oh, just automate it. Oh, really? Just automate it? Have you ever sat through a demo for some of these companies that are out there? We're talking $5,000+ a month for one license. Yep. And you have to do like a 12 or a 24-month contract, right? Now, like I'm just using an example here, but it's like, I think a lot of people are like, oh, just automate it. Yeah, if you can afford it, automation's phenomenal. Technology is phenomenal. But most technology that is out there isn't built for the small business and the ones who are in that transitionary phase of like trying to grow. Because yeah, it'd be great to just, throw all this money at it, but can you even afford the technology that comes along with it? And then is it going to actually be built around your book of business? And I think like that's one of the biggest hurdles that the freight tech community they have to realize it, but they don't talk about it. They're trying to cram a one size fits all solution when there's such a small percentage of shippers out there that actually will work with their technology. 90% of the freight or the customers that I'm out there, they're not on a TMS. They don't care about they care about their trucks showing up on time and delivering on time.
Right.
And I feel like there's a massive box that's out there, but that's a conversation for another day. Edward, I appreciate your time, man. I really like what you guys are doing out there. I think you guys have a great company for people to utilize who are, companies of all sizes who just want to look at alternative opportunities to grow their team. But how does anybody reach out to you guys to find out more about what you got going on?
Yeah, you can always visit us at myfreightstaff.com. It's at myfreightstaff on all platforms. So you can visit us, myfreightstaff, on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, definitely LinkedIn. LinkedIn is one of the hot spots for us. And you can reach me at Edward Lockridge and on LinkedIn, and Edward_Lockridge on Instagram. We're not a hard company to reach.
Perfect. I appreciate it. Edward, thank you so much for your time. That is going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. As always, if you got value in what you heard and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the show, you guys. And if you're feeling ambitious, rank that show on iTunes and Spotify, because if you see value, your network's going to see it as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.
Came back with a bang, window down, yelling out money, anything. Hey, ooh, got the foot on the gas, pedal to the metal when I'm getting to the back.